Majo John Madden, my dog friend Jason, who is tormented by fleas, as most street dogs are, and as most dogs are. It's really hard to get rid of fleas. And down there is Mufafa, my other favorite street dog from this area. And you can hear the sound of big trucks and buses on the car. That is the Autopista, which runs through this eastern part of Mexico and is a super highway down to Veracruz. I'm wanting to make an entry about inner silence. And the big dialectic in me right now is that I'm wanting to record an entry about inner silence, and I'm just wanting to be in the inner silence. The reason I was motivated to make it is because this morning I'm in a super quiet place. Now that's been a development in me over many years. I'm a head person, a writer, a creative, so my mind has always been very busy. But in my youth, I got influenced by a book called Be Here Now. Richard Alpert was a researcher at Harvard University along with Timothy Leary. You may know that name. You're more likely to know the name Timothy Leary than Richard Alpert. But for many people, an even more important name than Timothy Leary is Ram Dass. And Ram Dass is the spiritual name of Richard Alpert. Those guys were both doing well-reputed research on psychedelics at Harvard until the government got nervous and shut them down. Timothy Leary continued to be one of the foremost proponents of psychedelics and went pretty far left and became more of a cult figure. Ram Dass went to India during the period when the Beatles and all kinds of people were going to India to find spirituality. I forget who it was that the Beatles sought out. Ram Dass found a very powerful guru by the name of Maharajji, who gave him the name Ram Dass. So I and many of my cohort, I'm 76 now, graduated from college in 68. The Big Chill class, literally that movie is about my class graduating from college and looking in on them later in their lives. So Ram Dass influenced a lot of us to shift from psychedelics and other drug experiences, which we were using quite seriously to shake loose of the conformism of the 50s and many of us were at the same time involved in politics and fighting the Vietnam War and stuff, but we were also looking into our own personal development and spiritual development. One of the great meditation lines as a psychologist, I never identified with professional psychology. I didn't like that field much. Wanted to do therapy different than they did it. And was part of the Association for Humanistic Psychology, a name that probably isn't as known anymore as it once was, is Abraham Maslow, was a great psychologist who was interested in human potential, hierarchy of needs, and personal and spiritual development. And the Association for Humanistic Psychology grew up really around his thinking. And I never once joined the American Psychology Association, wasn't willing to give my money to that group that I didn't identify with, but for years was passionately involved with AHP, or the Association for Humanistic Psychology. and we'd go to conferences and stuff. And at one conference, I was in a class on meditation by a guy who had a well thought of book, and his great line was, "I'm meditating great." Just want to. Jason sometimes looks pretty stupid around cars, but he does manage to stay out of their way, and most of them around here will not casually hit a street dog.